Digital Hospitality. I am your host, Shawn Walchef. Today, we are going to be talking about one of the most important things that Dave has been working with me on for the last 4 years. And what he's told me is to speak and to teach in lessons and stories. So I'm going to start with a short story about Cali BBQ, our barbecue business, and how we ended up in the Wall Street Journal. For those that are watching on video, this is the business and finance section of the Wall Street Journal. And the headline reads, "Restaurants Experiment with Surge Pricing." So this article came out digitally on Sunday. It came out on Monday, March 11th in the actual print edition. And subsequent of this article coming out, I've appeared on Australian radio, some national news outlets, Nation's Restaurant News, had a lot of media attention about the word surge and the idea of dynamic pricing, which is actually the technology that we're implementing at our restaurant. We use a company called Juicer Pricing to do something that is done across all industries, hotels, airlines, stadiums, amusement parks, gas stations, grocery stores. It just hasn't been done in restaurants. Anybody that's listening to this has probably heard of the Wendy's backlash. Wendy's announced in an earnings call that they were going to experiment with dynamic pricing. It got picked up by the New York Post saying that Wendy's was going to be using surge pricing. Now, the definition of surge is a sudden powerful force or upward movement. Dynamic is incremental. So words matter in media, words matter in headlines. But I'm here with my media mentor to teach me the lesson that he sees in this case study. So Dave, take it away.
Well, first of all, I'm very proud of you, as always. You are my super student of the stage theory, and the fact that you understand that, very few people will read that article, even though it's in the Wall Street Journal, and very few people are reaching out to you saying, I read this article in the Wall Street Journal, and I really want to talk to you. But the minute you bring it on this show and hold it up to the camera, you will get far more engagement about the story and the lesson of the importance of words, for example, between dynamic and surge, and the energy and frequency between the words dynamic and surge. You and I share a friend, and he has an acai bowl thing, and, he's still stuck into the, prominence of mentions. And there was like a mention in an interview in a magazine of the person said something like, well, blank, blank Everbull or at blank, blank with Jeff Fenster. And immediately he thought the whole world is going to know who he is and what he's doing.
No,
and
nobody knows.
But me telling the story about Jeff Fenster and Everbull, more people will know Jeff Fenster and Everbull because we talked about him on here. Thus, the stage theory of taking what has happened and telling a story about it, visual, audio, in text, writing, and being able to capture it and then modify it so it's aligned with the messaging that you want. That Cal BBQ media is amazing, that the insight and lessons of Dave Meltzer and his own media training and consulting is amazing, or that we all have lessons to learn by finding mentorship, people who sit in a situation that we want to be in, so that we can learn from the ego mistakes of me when I was Jeff Fenster's age, and learn the lessons that just because you're on Gary Vee's podcast doesn't mean shit. And Gary Vee's amazing. Yes. Because Gary Vee understands the stage theory as well. It's what you do with Gary Vee and the podcast after, and the timing of what you do after, with the size, scope, and scale of the audience that resonates with the lessons and the stories that were told or shared with Gary Vee on his podcast. Just because you pay to be on his podcast or pay to be on his stages or pay to be other places doesn't mean shit unless you capture what you paid for, modify it, amplify it, and perpetuate it by telling stories that are going to resonate with the audience in which you want it to resonate with. If you want it to resonate with 19-year-olds who are impressed by the screaming and yelling and run through doors types of business. That's why most 19-year-olds have to learn those lessons and realize that doesn't work, that things take time, that they aggregate, accelerate, and compound. So my initial thoughts is that congratulations, Shawn, because out of all my students, and I hope someday that Jeff Fenster, who's one of my students as well, will learn the lessons of Shawn Walchef, that you actually, no matter what you're doing, have to capture it and understand your essence, your frequency, which is all about hospitality and restauranting and food service and all the things that you do. And that's why the biggest companies in the world and the biggest publications in the world are propagating, amplifying your stories and your lessons. Now, sub to that, and I am talking very far down the line of lessons, because the bigger lessons, hold up the newspaper one more time, just for me. And that's the Wall Street Journal, one of the most popular business and finance section. Right there is talking about Cali BBQ.
And the lead.
The lead.
Yes.
And a very, very big print, which we can't even see there. But us mentioning it, holding it up, is adding to credibility, emotional attachment, and allows you to quantify and articulate that quantification of the value that Cali BBQ Media brings to your industries, to the careers and the jobs and all the different businesses that exist within that. And you mentioned several in your story, by the way. Now, secondarily, words matter. And I'm going to repeat secondarily to the stage theory, words matter. And one of the things that you have to understand about words is that we give meaning to everything that we see, that we have so many different things in our past: failure, setbacks, mistakes, void, shortages, obstacles, defining moments and definitions and labels, successes, all of these different things, historical relevances, that when you say the word surge versus say the word dynamic, that just because Australian News or some other small media company wants to talk about surge and the negative implications of surge, that may not hold true for everyone. In fact, the audience in which you want that to resonate with may be in power companies where they actually love the word surge. And dynamic and incremental difference does not make an incremental difference. They like a surge. Gas gougers like surges. There's all types of people who may identify a line in their timing and risk tolerance that resonate with the word surge. So I think it's more importantly that understand words mean. It's the meaning to the words and the alignment of the words to the audience that you think best aligns with your essence, or the audience that best aligns with the definition, the label, the meaning that you are looking to utilize in order to effectuate the objective or better that you are trying to achieve.
The results are in. National Restaurant Association show. Kyle and Sarah and myself, we were at the Davos sales tax booth and we were polling restaurant owners on the floor. This was a very unscientific poll, but the results are resounding. Restaurant owners do not like sales tax. Nobody likes sales tax. Doesn't matter what business owner you are, small business, big business. Davo automates the sales tax process. We are so grateful that Davo is the sponsor of this show. They automate sales tax at our Cali BBQ restaurants. It is $50 a month. It integrates with all the major point of sale partners, including Toast. So if you want to sleep at night, if you want to not worry about sales tax, go to Davo, check them out, Davo Sales Tax. Let us know how they're helping automate your sales tax in your restaurant so that we can share your Davo story on digital hospitality.
Hey everyone, Avi Gorin, CEO and co-founder of Marquee, and I want to talk about the customer journey for a second. You never know as a restaurant owner where your guests are truly coming from. End of the day, we do see some patterns around two types of search behaviors: direct versus discovery. Direct search, for an example, would be jumping into Google and saying Cali BBQ hours, right? I know where I want to go to eat, but I'm missing a key detail. I need a little bit more information. Discovery, which is the bulk of searches, is barbecue in San Diego, restaurants near me, takeout near me, right? One of the best ways to be found for more discovery searches is leveraging keywords. Reviews are basically free content for you to leverage. Think about keywords that are relevant to your brand, your location, and include as many of those in your review responses as possible, right? How can you go about doing this? Let's set up reports, utilize tools like Google Trends, find out what's going on in your area and how you can help leverage these keywords and review responses, because someone else is doing that, right? If you need some examples, you could do anything from including summer menu, gluten-free menu, leverage specific menu items like the dreaded and beloved spice pumpkin anything in your review responses, right? Let them know what's coming. Let your reviewers know something they should come back and try. And of course, if all of this just seems overwhelming and daunting because you're already running a restaurant and have enough on your plate, just leverage the team at Marquee to do this for you. We handle all of this. We're experts in this space. We can automate this so it's just another item that you know you are taking care of. Again, that's marquee.com, marquii.com. No you. However, we did recently buy marquii.com. So if you do misspell it, we got you. You'll still find us. We can still help you.
For me, I think looking at this case study, there's a reason why many small businesses, restaurants in particular, don't want to speak their truth because they don't want to end up like Wendy's. They don't want to be in a boycott. They don't want to be in a position that we're in where we're ending up on LinkedIn threads. We're ending up in CNN YouTube videos, literally taking B-roll from content that we captured so long ago because they're fearful that it will ruin their business. But because we're playing the game within the game and because we're building a media company and we're getting the attention of the top technology companies, not just in the United States, but on Earth, we're able to understand that this is way bigger than the difference between surge pricing and the difference between dynamic pricing. This is we're talking about is sustainability and profitability in the restaurant business. There is a broken model that's happening. The costs are going up for labor, the costs are going up for food. And if the costs don't go up on our menu, we have a local restaurant here, a good friend of mine, Coop. He's going to be closing. He announced on Instagram yesterday that his restaurant's closing on Sunday. He's been in business for 13 years. For me, I care about implementing what's best to stay in business. I want to stay in business. And if it takes me being in conversations that might be negative about our brand, but to your point, the funniest thing about this case study is that when the Wall Street Journal article came out and I shared the link on social, 99% of the people couldn't even read the article. They didn't even know Cali BBQ was mentioned because they used Wendy's. They used Wendy's to get clicks, but people aren't subscribed to the $20 a month Wall Street Journal article.
Of course not. And in that essence, think about this. Kim Kardashian has one of the biggest communities at her frequency. It's still minuscule compared to the totality of the infinite amount of people that are in accessibility for Kim Kardashian. Most people that are involved in social media at least would recognize the name Kim Kardashian, but not as many as you think follow or are engaged with Kim Kardashian. But think about how Kim Kardashian's brand was started. What made Kim Kardashian famous? You don't have to say it out loud because most people would not think that is a positive activity to be publicized. Sure. And it doesn't make a goddamn difference because her mom understood the stage theory. Her mom understood that if I elevate the awareness, regardless of how we perceive the initial activity of the awareness of Wendy's, Cali BBQ Media, the Wall Street Journal, whatever it would be, if we can engage people in a manner of curiosity, of behavior, that can be deemed good or bad, determined upon the alignment of where you want to be or better in your life. Because the only distinguished morality between a behavior of being good and bad is good behavior is progressing towards where you want to be or better. Bad behavior is not progressing to where you want to be or better. And so elevating awareness, especially of a minuscule brand like a David Meltzer, like a Jeff Fenster, like a Shawn Walchef, a minuscule brand.
Yep.
That can create a community so large that you don't have enough time or enough people or enough money to handle the options, opportunities, and touches of favor that are there, because you are aware of the infinite size of the total addressable community that's available for you and your brand and your efforts to empower others, to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. When you can put things into a perspective of behaviors and understand the community that resonates and the essence of that community that you're looking for. I'll tell you a story as well today, one in which hopefully will teach you this lesson. I went to dinner last night. I left Tucson, where I had it was all 8-figure couples, high net wealth couples who I poured into for a day and a half. And it was called the Couples Collective at the Marival Resort, an unbelievable resort. I left there at 2:30 to make sure I could get here for a dinner with people, that are here. There's like 6 different events in Dallas. But I was blessed to be around one of my faves, which is Sam Taggart. And we had Greg, and I'm forgetting his last name, but everybody's down here. Mark Murphy and Sean Dill, and like there's Dan Fleischman and Tim Grover and whatever. Anyway, I'm sitting across from a cameraman and this young kid, and he's 21. And I said, what do you like? Right? Because the only way I can provide value to people is find out what they like or don't like and give them more of what they like or take away what they don't like. So I said, hey brother, what do you like? And he goes, I love listening to podcasts. I'm like, well, who do you like then? And he's like, Andy Elliott and I like Goggins and I'm like, I understand your frequency. And that is not my frequency. Yes. And it took me a long time to realize that my frequency was the Couples Collective of 8-figure individuals that are talking about 5 pillars in life, not busting through a window and not quitting. I have a different perspective of a ferocious Buddha and reconciliation. The irony is that most of the people at that essence that are running through walls with the Andy Elliott's of the world and the Goggins of the world, which is a much bigger audience, which I love. And, I'm planting seeds into that audience under what I consider to be trees that I'll never sit under. But more importantly, that for me is the understanding that there's no comparison, that they have an essence in a community that they're speaking to, and I have an essence in a community that I'm speaking to. And it took me, Shawn, a long time not to have a need, to feel offended or a need to feel competitive or comparative and say, hey, good for them, man. I get what you're getting out of Andy Elliott and Goggins. Those guys are amazing for what you are at and where you are at. But Shawn Walchef isn't telling you that, and Fenster's not telling you that, and I'm not telling you that. And it's okay. It's okay, because we're overloaded with options, opportunities, and touches of favor because the size, scope, and scale of the total addressable community. So don't make the mistake in branding that even on the Wall Street Journal side, have no need to be offended that they use Wendy's to go ahead and build their community at their frequency, because Cali BBQ Media, nobody would even open and nobody would buy a subscription for $20 to the Wall Street Journal if they use your name or your business. Now, maybe someday with aggregation, acceleration, and compounding of community, they will. And, to the point of, I've been doing this now for 7 years, the Super Bowl a few months ago, and they probably still would not use my name. And yet the community's building, but it's minuscule of minuscule. So remember Kim Kardashian and how she got famous, and you will know that it's just a matter of time concerning your essence of how you too can raise the awareness and elevate the value that you provide to empower others to empower others.
The last question I'm going to ask you is from one of my favorite quotes that you tell me, and it's that the truth vibrates the fastest. So St. Augustine says the truth is like a lion, let it out of the cage, and there's no need to defend it. It'll defend itself. Tell me about the truth and the frequency of truth before I let you go.
Yeah, so everything vibrates. So this table vibrates slower than plants, than animals, than humans, than sound, than light. and then thought. You can only be aware of that which vibrates equal to or less than you. Your mind, your body, and soul are all vibrating as well. The physical, all these things that we do say, think, feel, and believe are vibrating. And the thoughts vibrate the fastest, but there's one thought that vibrates faster than all. It's the truth. The truth vibrates the fastest. And if we pursue the truth through consistent, persistent behavior, in the divine direction, in the divine time of where we want to be or better, we will elevate our awareness to our potential, to our higher self, to Christ. This is the labels that people use in order to effectuate an awareness to ease, to understand what am I doing to interfere with my potential, not how do I reach my potential. My potential already exists in that light, in that truth, and therefore that truth needs no defense. We just have to figure out what we're doing to interfere with it, impede it. It is it's multiplication, exponential multiplication through subtraction of that which interferes, FEAR, with our potential. And the truth vibrates the fastest. And therefore, as we pursue our truth, our potential, we are elevating our awareness to see things like what's protecting us that others see is rejecting us. We can see things like when to buy and when to sell. We can see things that stop us from creating a need to be offended or need to be right or inferior, superior, because they use the name Wendy's in the title, not Shawn Walchef. That the Australian media call you and have an interview and nobody gives a shit. It is the awareness that you know that what truly matters is that you're giving people more of what they want. You are providing value to them by giving them more of what they like and also taking away what they don't like. You are creating more ease and more truth in their lives. And so if you look at all matter and understand the protection of that rejection, that separation, then you will know that the truth vibrates the fastest. In my daily, consistent, persistent, without quit pursuit of my truth is all that truly matters in the essence of divine time and divine direction, because it is my higher self that is incorporated and reconciled within the truth. And so remember, the truth vibrates the fastest and it needs no defense.
I can't wait to look back on this particular Inside the Coaching call with David Meltzer when we looked at the Wendy's and Cali BBQ case study and see how far we've come. David, thank you so much. Please, in the show notes, I'm going to put links to all of the behind the scenes coaching calls with David Meltzer on the Digital Hospitality Show. We've had some incredible conversations over 4 years and we're just getting started.
Just getting started. I'm so proud of you. Keep it up. Cali BBQ Media and incredible Shawn Walchef. I'm always here for you, through you, and helping others to help others. Thank you for doing such a great job.
Appreciate you, Dave. Have a great day.